Welcome to Rainbow Soul Podcast, where our Soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and Lacrosse's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at rainbowsoul.show.
Hello, welcome everyone. All right, we're gonna welcome everyone. I hope that you are, and that's what happens. So, welcome everyone. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Yep. I don't know why I can't get live in the groups. I have no idea why. It's a little bit frustrating. I can't get live in the mediums group. I can't get live anywhere in any group of any kind. So I don't understand why, which kind of sucks because I wonder what's going to happen this evening. So anyway, this is the astrology forecast, and I am Hollis Taylor. Welcome to Rainbow Soul Soulstrology forecast for December 23rd to the 30th. And I'm glad you're tuning in. I'm glad you're here. And
hi there. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm Bright Hawk. You can always learn more about me at brighthawkproductions.com. I'm an artist, author, astrologer. My book, The Dancing Hippo, you can always order at my website at Bright Hawk Productions. And obviously, I'm a musician as well in helping provide the music for Rainbow Soulstrology. So always fun to be here and see what this week has to hold.
Right? Yeah. And, I hope you're tuning in. If you're tuning in live, you can totally comment with your questions down below as we go through. For right now, we're going to start off with a little guided meditation that I hope you all could enjoy. Most of my guided meditations are meant to help you have a deeper soul understanding of the planets or aspects or zodiac signs so that you can begin to integrate the facts of astrology and the dynamics of astrology in this moment. So take a deep breath. Let me just check that music because I'm aware that the music doesn't always come through. Sounds like it's coming through now. And I invite you all to take a deep breath. And become present with the music in the here and now. Close your eyes if you can. And imagine yourself underneath the starry sky above. With the stars above you that seem to go on forever and ever. as you stare at the stars, you can see beautiful moon and the constellations seem to start to highlight to you. And one of them that you notice is Sagittarius. And directly across the sky is Gemini. And it is also lighting up so that you may see its constellation. And as Sagittarius zooms into you, you realize that within the center of that constellation is the planet Mercury, the ruler of Gemini. And Gemini is lighting up and zooms into you as well. And within it is the ruler of Sagittarius, Jupiter. As if the two have exchanged their ruling planets, the planets that carry the same energy as the zodiac. Jupiter with its expansion and its worldview and its belief systems deeply embedded in Gemini. Gemini about communication and networking and speaking out loud with its planet over in Sagittarius. As if the two have traded their ruling planets. And you actually witness Jupiter jump over to Mercury, and Mercury jump over to Sagittarius, and Jupiter jumps into Gemini. They sort of jump back and forth. Something we call mutual reception. Trading places. And as they're trading places in this moment, we're excited to feel the energies of Jupiter's expansion and blessings, and Mercury's ability to communicate and bring messages of those beliefs. And as these two planets switch back and forth, jump from spot to spot, we realize that they are in a very special conversation, a very special connection, an aspect, we call it, mutual reception. They trade places with each other. And as you pull back and the constellations pull back up into the sky, and you become present in your body, in the here and now, you take a deep breath and you realize that no doubt the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. And I invite you to stretch your fingers, stretch your toes, open your eyes and become present in your body, in the here and now. Beautiful, beautiful. Hi, Bianca. We'll be trying to do it about this time every week. We will try. Thank you, Bright Hawk. Thank you. It's beautiful.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Bright Hawk. Bianca's so thrilled she caught us.
Oh, well, I'm thrilled you caught us too, because the technologies were not being very agreeable.
No, we are unable to go live inside the group for some odd reason. So all I could do was share it to the group. So anyway, it's good that we at least shared it around, and hopefully people will get to see it at some point, or we'll figure out why I can't go live in the groups. And I appreciate all of you for asking questions as we talk about things this week, as we get into the nitty-gritty of the week. I hope that you would ask questions. I will be doing like, first we're going to go over the general energy of the week, and then we will go into more like a I'll go into a horoscope for everybody's, like for Aries and for your sun or moon, and for your sun or rising. It could also be for your moon as well, but it will make sure you at least listen to your sun sign and your rising sign, and it will kind of be little horoscopes for everybody. Okay, and that will be at the end. But first, we're going to go over the sort of generic for everyone. And first of all, I want to say that happy holiday, happy solstice for those who have experienced that, and for anyone that already celebrated or will be celebrating, happy holiday. Okay.
Or as I like to say, a merry everything and a happy always.
Well, that works too, right?
Covers all the bases.
All
Works
right.
for everything and
Yeah.
everyone, I hope.
And I'm sorry that Lacrosse wasn't able to make it. He's busy, of course, with the holidays, like a lot of us are. And I'm glad that you made it, though, Bianca. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome.
Yay.
Okay. And hopefully, Bianca, if you listen to the meditations, you'll find that the meditations are meant to have a deeper soul understanding of certain things that happen in astrology that we will be talking about this week. And that's one of the biggest things about this, is that, like, if you listen to our meditations at the beginning each time, it will be something. So if you're learning astrology or studying astrology, listening to a weekly forecast that's how I learned. I think that's how you learned too, Bright Hawk.
It made so much
Yeah.
more, everything made more sense. And then if you heard something in the weekly forecast that you were like, I want to know more about that, I have that in my chart or whatever, we would just keep pursuing whatever interested us and what sort of called out to us. So one of those things for me was understanding more about the lunar cycles and the void of course moons.
Yeah, because we heard it in I think it was
first it was Stormy Grace.
Mm-hmm.
She was talking about it and I was like, wow, this sounds so interesting. And then we took one of the classes from Nadia Shah's Synchronicity University, and I'm Celeste, astrologer Celeste, really knowledgeable about the moon.
She's really beautiful. Wow. She's really good with the moon.
Yeah, you know, and that's the beauty of astrology, is you can just grab a hold of whatever catches your fancy. Well, I want to know more about that, because there's so many avenues, roads you can go down. Oh my God, there's so many. So
hi, Ilana.
Hi.
Hi, Ilana Marie. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. And the other fun thing about astrology is we do have a 101 class. So if you're interested in just getting the basics, it will get you started. And a lot of people, if you look at the reviews on Google, and if you message any of them, Eve Brown would be Eve, Jamie Angel, or Eve Brown. It's the same person. You could message them, or you could message Shelly Warga, and they're happy to tell you that the class helped them make more sense of these weekly forecasts. Okay. So that's the great thing about the class. You can find it at my website, divineandrogen.com. And Bright Hawk and I did the class together, and we have cheat sheets on there, and you even get free coaching with me. So you can schedule a thing and come meet with me. And if you say, I'd really like to talk to Bright Hawk more about the void of course moon or how to figure that out, I'll get her on the coaching too. Okay. So you can get coaching with whoever, with both of us or one of us, and we'll answer your questions to the best of our ability. Okay.
And it's definitely, we get that astrology, it is definitely another language. It takes a minute to understand it all, which is why we tried to make it really accessible and digestible in the Astrology 101 class. So, and the beauty of that, of course, is you can learn at your own pace, go back over things if you need to. And
that's what's nice about videos, right? You can just review it. You can just rewind it, right?
Or put it on double time and get a quick review on,
right?
super fast.
We've done that too.
We do that a lot.
All right. Bianca asked, what type of chart do you normally use for natal charts? I usually use Pleiadian, if that's what you're asking, like the house system. Sorry, Placidus. Did I say Pleiadian?
Yes.
Placid. Okay, well, that's a star system, but I was kind of close. Placidus is the house system that I use. I just use a regular natal chart. You can, and that's the default at astro.com, mostly because that's what I started with. I have tried what they call a whole house system, and
just didn't find it as accurate.
I found that it was more, I think the Placidus is more accurate. And that's the traditional way. And I do think some traditional things are good. But I am very Uranian, so I do sometimes change things, and I do recognize when a planet is at like 29 degrees and it's just about to go into the next house or just on the edge. I will recognize that it's a mixture of both houses or both zodiacs. So that's what I would use. And great, Bianca, I'm glad you got your chart printed. That's so awesome. So you at least know your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. And your rising sign is based on your time of birth, and so is the moon to some degree. So like if your moon is at 29, it could matter what time you were born. Okay, so knowing what time you were born is actually a very important information in astrology. Okay, so we're going to add our stage here. This is our week's forecast for this week from December 23rd to the 30th. And so hit this bigger. There we go. So I think one of the biggest things for the week. Now, first of all, I noticed that there was a grand trine in air, which of course is a great blessing.
Absolutely.
And I feel that's like thinking, right? Absolutely. Like that's the way we're thinking.
Right, right. And so the air signs include Venus in Aquarius, Jupiter in Gemini, and trining the moon in Libra. And of course, a grand trine, what that means, why is it called grand? We try to demystify the gobbledygook language of astrology. What it means is that, so every sign has an element, water, earth, air, water, fire, right? So a grand trine is all three signs in that same element. And so it's a grand trine in air, whatever. We have a grand trine in fire at the end of the week.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, which I found pretty exciting. I'm like, whoa.
Well, and so
that mystic rectangle that exists in this chart started last week. We talked about it last week. It goes all the way through this week.
I seen that it was all week, pretty much.
Pretty much.
And what I feel like is if you have a grand trine in air, for instance, then that's going to be like a easy coming together of the 3 planets, which is Venus, Jupiter, and the moon, which is emotional healing. So there could be about, maybe thinking about things a little differently or having different perspectives, or just being able to like think through something or have clarity about something at the beginning of the week. And I think that that's going to be really important. And with that mystic rectangle leading us to appropriate change, because Pluto's in Aquarius, asking for us to change to include all people, to be inclusive, because that's really what Aquarius is about. It's not about pedestaling people, which our current culture is based on. Aquarius doesn't want that, right? Okay. Instead, it wants us to all be on equal footing, but it's going to be a long process for us to get from where we are to where we're going. And I think that mystic rectangle has a lot to do with like the grand scale of things, like the Earth, the whole planet Earth.
Yeah, my hope is that, especially as we see that Pluto in Aquarius, that it's a really grand awakening in a good way, a realization of how do we do this better? How do we do this in a good way? And call me the cockeyed optimist, but that grand trines and mystic rectangles, what does that mean? It means you are blessed.
Yeah, it means things are coming together.
Spiritually blessed energy. That Venus involved means relationships, and Mercury involved means conversations. The moon involved is your emotions. It could also include your mother. So hopefully you're having good relations with your parents. Mars is also involved. Remember, Mars is retrograde. It's still in Leo. January 6th, it steps back into Cancer.
Right. So, but it's still retrograde. It will step back into Cancer and go into like the middle of the Cancer placements and then turn around and go direct. Mars retrograde, we've talked about in prior weeks. It really has a lot to do with reviewing our actions and our beliefs, and even stopping conflicts possibly, or making us review conflicts. Like, is this what we really want to be doing? Okay. But I think that the grand trine at the beginning of the week and then later on in the week, I really think that that's a great blessing. As things unfold, there is a pretty large T-square that I'll be talking about that we'll be seeing for the most of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And it perfects on the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
The 26th, 27th, kind of overnight, 26th and 27th. I'll be basing the horoscopes on that because that's the biggest challenge of the week. Saturn's in Pisces, and the T-square points to that. And Saturn in Pisces for us personally is a lot to do with spirituality. So it has a lot to do with our religion and things like that. Bianca, your moon is at 29 degrees Leo or Cancer. So
just so you know, Bianca, what we call the 29 degrees, because I have a number of 29s and zeros. And 29s and zeros mean, we call it what's known as the anaretic degree. It's supercharged of that sign. So at the beginning, is like the 0, I think of it as sort of its purest of that sign, but almost in its naivete, like it's pure in that way. And the 29 degree is sort of like the master, it's more of the, I understand this now. And it's
like a little bit more mature,
up, I think 29th.
I think Anne Ortley described it as maturity.
Yeah.
It's like being 0 or being 29, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah,
I have a yod that's based on that. So.
Bianca says it's in Aquarius. Okay, so Pluto,
wow.
So you'll have a good 20-something years before Pluto's right on top of your moon. When it's right on top of your moon, I would say that, it could be kind of an intense experience. But right now, while it's at 0 degrees Aquarius, you're probably okay. You might kind of have a broader, bigger change, just like everyone else is having. But you won't really feel it. But what I will say is that Venus will be crossing over there, crossing over that area. And that's a blessing. That could be a financial blessing or a relationship blessing, depending on what house it's in. And so since your moon is at 29 degrees, I would consider it to be a little bit Pisces, almost Pisces. Okay. It's like almost, so you should always consider a little bit of influence from Pisces. Okay. Especially with the moon. Okay.
So sometimes cusps like that are described as you're in the same house and someone's having a conversation in the room next to you, and you can almost hear it, but not quite, because you're still in your house, right? You're still in your room. And there's this other conversation that you're so close to, like, totally hearing. You may even hear a little bit and interact with it a little bit, but it's the vibe of the energy is that kind of thing.
Right, exactly. And Tamara, since you have time passages, I'm just going to say usually for most software these days, the default is Placidus. Most people use Placidus. I encourage you that once you get the basics, to go ahead and experiment with other house systems, and to see, especially if you're not comfortable with Placidus for some reason, or you're just exploratory. And I'm a very exploratory person, so I tend to explore food and explore different ways of doing things and try to do things slightly differently. And that's pretty much what this is about. So I would encourage you, Tamara, to go ahead and start with Placidus and then move on from there when you get a little bit better at things. So again, that T-square is pointing at Saturn in Pisces, and this is really the theme for the whole week, really. With that Saturn in Pisces is, for us personally, it tends to be about our emotional system and possibly most likely our spiritual system. Particularly if you're listening to this, you probably have some sort of spirituality that's been changing, because Saturn's been in Pisces for the last couple of years, I think like 2 years, maybe a year and a half. So as Saturn's been in Pisces, it's been coming through and kind of changing the way things are and making you consider different belief systems and helping you understand spirituality on a deeper, more emotional space and in a more emotional level, which is what I've been seeing a little bit, even for myself. When people are coming to me for readings, I end up talking a lot about like trauma and things like that, which is emotional healing through spirituality, right? Okay, and so that's kind of what, and one time when Saturn was here is when the hippies went through the whole free love and stuff like that. So try to think of it like that way, where the hippies were exploring free love and polyamory and things like that. And that was an important part of our culture, right? At the time, it was very important for Saturn and Pisces to do that. Okay, and that's part of the square. And it's in a square to Mercury in Sagittarius and Jupiter in Gemini. And the thing about what I did in the meditation, if you caught the meditation, Mercury and Gemini are opposite in each other. Gemini and Sagittarius are both, they're opposites. But the thing is that each zodiac sign has what we call a ruling planet. And what that means is that the planet is at home in this zodiac sign. And so Mercury is the ruler of Gemini and Virgo. But for right now, we'll focus on it being in Gemini. And in Gemini, it tends to help us speak outward and speak to the crowd and network and put people together and connect people. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and both of those signs talk about, both Jupiter and Sagittarius talk about expansion and belief systems and theories. And if you know a Sagittarius, they have their own belief system. They're going to do it their way, and that's how they're going to do it. So they have their own belief system. And so Mercury and Jupiter are in opposite signs of each other. So what that ends up creating is what we call mutual reception. So since they're in their ruler, they can switch sides. they can switch. Now, opposition is already a jumping back and forth between the two signs, but with a mutual reception opposition, it tends to be that Mercury can go to its ruling sign and Jupiter can go to its ruling sign. So what does that mean? They're both in a square to Saturn. So I really think this is going to be a time where people are, and that's what's happening in the world. In the world, we're questioning why, some people clearly are okay with that guy murdering people, right? Murdering the CEO of the insurance company. They still think that's okay, right? Okay. And that's an example of how we're questioning the system and also our belief systems and talking out loud about it. Now that could also be happening in your home. That could also be happening in your own life. And you could be speaking out loud about your belief systems, maybe about this holiday, maybe about celebrations, the way you think celebrations should be or shouldn't be. Or maybe it's about and your relationship to your own system. Okay? And so that's really what's going on. I really think we're going to really be, a lot of people this holiday are really going to be revisiting their belief systems.
I agree. And I just want to sort of remind us that Saturn is often represents dad or authority, structure. So, yeah, just to be mindful that means there could be, and maybe it's a good thing. Maybe dad's helping facilitate a conversation, because that's what a T-square does, is that you have that opposition of Mercury, Jupiter, and then the facilitator is off to the side. The T-square is Saturn. So maybe dad helps you get something resolved or understood that you didn't understand before. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd probably be something like that, I would imagine. And, Saturn's in Pisces right now. So Pisces people are definitely experiencing Saturn there. And when Saturn's on a planet of yours that's in Pisces, Saturn's at 13 degrees. And so Mercury is at 10 degrees on Monday, but by the time the 27th comes, it's at 14 degrees. And Jupiter in Gemini is at 14 degrees. So anything in those in Sagittarius, Gemini, or Pisces, if you have anything in the teens, and you can see the degrees right next to it. If you take a look at our image here, you can see that it says 13 degrees, right? Okay. That's the degrees of the planet, how far or how deep it is in. There is 30 degrees in each zodiac sign in Placidus.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's Monday, and you'll probably have the theme of exploring your belief systems regarding your own system of doing things, and maybe in relation to your father or authority or power. And there could be some maybe disagreements with your family about how you celebrate the holiday, or maybe there is an agreement. Who
Right.
knows? Maybe there could be some coming together of some realizing that, well, we don't really care about gifts. We just want to have a meal together. And so maybe there's some agreements about that kind of thing coming up. Okay.
Squares, we generally want to help you understand. Squares are a little bit of a challenge from the universe, where it's, you got to make a decision. You're going to go left, you're going to go right, yes or no. It forces action.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing. That's how we move forward in life. So that's why we're spending extra time talking about it, because that's the whole point of listening to a weekly forecast, is to get an idea of where are the things that I should be mindful of that could get kind of challenging, and where are things just going to. Awesome. Right. I love the way I'm thinking today.
Right.
Monday, Grand Trine in air. Whew.
Right.
I love my brain today. It's easy. No, monsters in the head, so to speak. Monkey brain, that's what I want to call it. I feel really clear-headed today.
Now, Bianca said, what system would you suggest to check out next? If you're talking about a house system, I would suggest that whole house system. Some people find it easier to learn on the whole house system, just so you know.
What I've come to realize about the difference between looking at Placidus houses and looking at whole house systems is it really depends on your chart. My chart, because it's winter solstice, is like perfectly aligned. It has a lot of symmetry and very little, huge overlap or whatever. There might be just a few degrees of difference, but most of my chart is very symmetrical with Placidus. I have seen charts that I jaw drops like, wow, I didn't know a chart could look like this, where one house looks like it's 5 degrees and another house looks like it's 50 degrees or something.
And that has something to do with, like, if you were born in Alaska or Greenland or Iceland, some of the higher points closer to either of the poles, you might notice that your houses in Placidus are a little bit different size. In whole house system, it will just be, exactly 30 degrees in each sign. So it's definitely different. So, all right. So here we go on to Tuesday. The T-square continues, the mystic rectangle. So I will say, whatever's going on with your spiritual beliefs or your belief systems or whatever, those things are meant to happen. So try to really sit with yourself, really visit what's in your heart, really visit what your soul is speaking to you, and really listen to that. I think that will be incredibly important, especially as this week unfolds. So I can see that the mood goes void on Tuesday.
Maybe we have some really interesting long void moons. So what does that mean? So the moon, of course, changes signs about every 2.5 days. And right at the end, when it's about to switch, it's like it takes a pause before it goes into another sign. Because think about it. It goes fire, air, water, earth. Those are very different energies. So every time it switches signs, it's like, okay, we're going to go from air Libra to water Scorpio, right? So it takes a pause. Well, the pause is this month. My goodness. I haven't been tracking this long enough to know, is this what it always looks like in the winter, where we have these really significant void moons? So the pause, I've been paying attention to this probably since about this, I would say the spring might be when I was really starting to dive deeper and deeper into it. Many, many times the void, of course, moon could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. The void moons this month, hours and hours and hours. So what does that mean? It means that the moon does not have a lot of energy, which means no emotional, dramatic energy exists. Those fuel cans are empty. Whoa! I wish I'd known about this sooner.
Right?
How to avoid drama. How to neutralize people, situations, energies where you're like, oh my God, I just don't want to go in there because it's going to be so dramatic. So I'm delighted to share with you that Christmas Eve is like no drama. Christmas Eve, December 24th, Mountain Time, from 10:45 basically in the morning, all the way until 8 a.m. Christmas morning is a void moon.
Great.
So, of course, just for your time. But that just to me says, oh, it could actually be a really easy time to gather and be with people that you may like be trepidatious about, because there's just not a lot of drama. Plus the moon is waning, and when the moon is waning, we're shedding. It's the perfect opportunity to let go of old grudges, old things, whatever doesn't need to keep coming forward. We are shedding with the moon going. And then, of course, it's going to be a new moon exactly a week from today, a new moon in Capricorn on Monday the 30th. But I get ahead of myself.
No, that's okay.
That's the void moon. A really wonderful thing. Now, the other thing I just want to point out is that means it's a great time for self-care. It is not a good time to try to initiate action or be bold moving forward or trying to get people's attention in some kind of way. That's not what this energy's for. What I have found during a void moon, we traveled, we took a flight once during a void moon, and it was great.
It's a good time to fly.
There was no drama. And I'll tell you, because I was paying attention, it was during the summer and I had been starting to pay attention to this. as we were getting our bags, the void moon was ending, and I could feel the airport like coming back, going, you get the idea. And it was like, let's get out of here,
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me if this is helpful for you, if you've noticed any of these things. Yesterday, did you have a no drama day? Yesterday was a void moon, a 7-hour void moon throughout most of yesterday.
Yep.
I had a great day. I was very chill and glad for it to be very chill because the several days preceding it had been very full.
Yeah, so I feel like the void moons are pretty important for you to know when they're happening. And then, of course, the grand trine will continue. The grand trine in fire will be really strong on the evening, towards the end of the day on the 27th, as the moon moves into Sag. And I guess that's just after this void moon, right? So it's actually that evening,
right?
The 27th at night,
right?
Because the moon is at 29 degrees Scorpio in this particular chart here that you're looking at. And that, while that's okay, it's going to move over into Sag, and that's when that grand trine will be really perfected.
Exactly.
And it will be a grand trine in fire. So that's really about passion. Maybe you've decided to change something. Maybe there's some sort of change you had to do or something like that. That's what the 27th, the night of the 27th, that's really going to bring some sort of a passion up in your heart. And I think that that's like, I mean, and it could have a little to do with that T square that you've been experiencing all week, but right. The 27th is Friday. So this is like Friday evening, feeling those passions, and it'll probably really come strong, especially after Friday night into Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be curious because you have that void moon Friday afternoon followed by a grand trine in fire. I can't wait to hear or see, observe. I hope it's, all good for everybody. Blessings to one and all. We got married under a grand trine in fire.
Yeah, it's a great time.
And of course, I'm a double fire. I have a Leo moon and a Sag sun. So this is happy times for me. I feel like,
and I have almost nothing in fire, so I'm always searching for fire. So that's the one thing I know about myself. I'm always looking for fire. I'm always looking for passion and stuff like that. I have a lot of emotion because I have plenty of water, but not enough fire in my chart. So anyway, if you're, if you notice that, it'll probably be Friday night into Saturday morning.
Right. Exactly.
So that's really the important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I threw in for extra credit, Monday, we will have a new moon.
Which is New Year's Eve.
Yeah, look at the openness. And we still have that mystic rectangle, but wow.
And we still have that T-square. You have
no aspects with the sun or the moon. They are simply conjunct each other because, of course, that's what a new moon is, when the sun and the moon are in the same degree in the sky. And then sort of that mystic rectangle just hangs out there again. So, we'll be back on Monday the 30th to talk more about the week that follows.
Yeah, for New Year's.
But I just needed to highlight it because it's right, it is New Year's Eve, and talk about an opportunity. New moon in Capricorn makes it, the 30th makes more sense to have any kind of New Year's resolutions, intentions for the new year. It's a powerful time because, of course, Capricorn is all about, it's ruled by Saturn. We've talked a lot about it tonight. And Saturn, of course, wants to see things get done. What are you doing about it? And it's about making shit happen. So that really can be a positive, powerful, potent time to say, you know what? I really want my 2025 to look like this. I want to do more of this. I want to do less of that. Whatever it is that you need to define for yourself, you'll know what to do. And of course, speaking our intentions is how we make things happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially with Jupiter. When I say when Jupiter's retrograde, it's listening for you to make wishes. And it will do
may
its
there
best.
Be more peace and love on earth. May we have more unity. May we have more clarity. May we have more understanding with ourselves and each other.
Right. Exactly. All right, everyone. I'm also now going to do the horoscopes for everyone. So
Okay.
I'm just
I was
gonna
say I
start to
printed the
talk
cards.
directly. I'm just gonna start to talk directly about. I was gonna see if it would let me share it. Yeah, it would. Okay, so I'm gonna share it just so you can see. This is nope. This is the chart. This is for December 26th. It's very late at night, or sorry, 11:42 in the morning, because this is when that T square, you can see the red triangle there is highlighted, and this is for Aries. And for Aries, you're really going to, you may not notice how it changes your system right away, but it could change your sort of maybe the way you react to your intuition, maybe the way you hear your intuition in particular, or your interaction with the or your interaction with institutions. But in particular, it's definitely, you're definitely going to have some higher learning, some higher understanding, some spiritual understanding of a deeper understanding of yourself and yourself within community. That's what Aries is going to be experiencing. Aries is really going to be experiencing a difference in their community and how they believe they are meant to interact with the community, and how they communicate with the community. That's really what's going to be the big deal for Aries, is that Aries is really going to feel that change in the communication part of it. Okay, so like the communication with their community in particular. Oops, I did seconds instead of minutes. And I'm trying to change it. Now we're going to talk about Taurus. So the thing about Taurus is that Taurus is also is going to really be noticing this as well. You may not notice the change in your system right away. You may kind of notice it maybe with the people that you spend your life with, but it will have a lot also to do with money or other people's money. In particular, your connection with the occult or unusual taboo subjects, and your relationship with money, and your values in particular. So it will have something to do with those, and it will change your system depending on what degree Taurus you are, whether you're a Taurus sun, Taurus rising. You may notice that it changes who you are hanging out with, who you're spending your time with, who you allow to have power over you, and who you decide to spend time with. Those will be very important to you in this time, and those are the things that this sort of change in belief systems will change for you. And it will be very important to you, especially in relation to your belief systems, because that will really be the big thing, is that your belief systems will change, probably about the people that you are around or the people that you spend time with. Okay. Now with Gemini, what I want to say about Gemini is you can see the T square is pointing to Saturn there in Pisces up in the 11th house. So that's, again, the 11th house is about the people you spend your time with, the people you hang out with. But this is going to have more to do with your identity, with yourself, and your relationships with others. So those two things are going to have some sort of push pull, and you could feel a change in belief systems for Gemini, and it's going to change the way and how you connect with those people in your life, whoever they might be. And though they will be some of the people that have power over you, or people that are very interested in connecting with you, like on a more friendship or cousin type of thing. But this will have a lot to do with your relationships, and your intuition. It could have something to do with father as well, because of Saturn's involvement here. Okay. And then we'll move on to Cancer. And with Cancer, the thing is that Cancer is going to be really connected to, now you may not see how it changes your belief systems, because you're going to be dealing with something that has to do with day-to-day and career. Okay, so something with your day-to-day and your career is really what you're going to be noticing. Okay, so you may not notice how it changes your belief system necessarily, but you may notice how it changes your career, or the way you do your career, the way you go to work. Maybe it has something to do with maybe, exercising before you go to work or something like that, especially in the 6th house, because that has a lot to do with wellness. And maybe there's some sort of belief system that has changed within you that you haven't really noticed, but maybe someone else pointed it out to you. But your wellness, or it could have your relationship to do with institutions, including like hospitals. Maybe you've had some health things and you're like, I really got to get to exercising or meditating or doing yoga before I go to work. And this is for Cancer, okay? So if you have Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising, this week, expect to see some changes regarding work or how you approach work, particularly in your wellness and what you do maybe before work, or how you approach work, or maybe even just your belief systems of how you deal with other people there, like that kind of energy. It's going to really change your career and how you deal with career and how you deal with your day-to-day life. So that's going to have a lot to do with, your work and things like that, or whatever you do. If you don't have a job, it could have something to do with your like day-to-day work, like what you do day to day. What do you do every day? It's gonna change that. You're gonna have some realizations. Maybe you'll just be talking to somebody and it will happen. Okay. Now, as far as Leo Sun, Leo Rising, and even Leo Moon, you could even watch these for if you got to rewind back and listen to your moon sign when we're done, that's fine. You're going to notice your changes with creativity and children, and in relation to the people that are higher up for you. You're going to notice your relationship with that and how that's affecting, it's particularly your relationship with taboo subjects, including other people's money, also including other things like the occult or shadow, your shadow, right? Like, and if you don't know what I mean by that, like shadow is like the part of you don't want to talk about. It's taboo topics. That's why I say other people's money. They say the key words for the 8th house is sex, death, and taxes. Okay. So maybe it has something to do with some of those topics, but it will have something to do with creativity, children, and in relation to people, people that have power over you, or people that you are friends with, even your friends. Okay. Because your friends influence you. If you didn't know that, your friends influence you. Some of, maybe for a Leo Sun, Leo Rising, you might be influencing them. Okay. But it might have something to do with maybe your creativity, or something you've said, or something you've been talking about a lot. And maybe you'll have a realization in that shadow part of yourself. Maybe you'll have a realization of how to give them more room, my Leo friend. Maybe what you could say to lift them up. Okay. And those are the kinds of realizations you'll be having this week, and how you can support your children and people you love. Now, as we move on to Virgo, oh, we're in 1 minute, no wonder. Okay. And we move on to Virgo. What we'll notice there for Virgo is, now remember, this is the T square. So this will have a lot to do with your career, but also your home. Okay. So this is going to have a lot to do with your home. Okay. So Virgo is going to be, it's going to have to do with your career, but also your relationship with home and your relationships with others. Okay. Especially closer, more intimate relationships, people you love, people that are close to you on a day-to-day basis. It's really going to change your belief systems about work and your home life. And it's really going to change the way you have relationships with others, which I think is a real blessing. I think that while it might be a little bit challenging, it could also be a real blessing for Virgo. Okay, so if you're a Virgo Sun, Virgo Rising, you're going to notice that exchange. Okay, you're going to notice that maybe your belief systems shift a little bit about your relationships with others, and you're going to notice how home is changed, how whatever you call home, and it could even be your home of origin, depending on how young you are. Okay, so the younger you are, the more likely it's going to have to do with your home of origin. When we talk about the 4th house, I always want to point that out. With the 4th house, it's like your home of origin has more to do with it when you're younger. And then as you get older, it tends to be your home, especially if you bought a home or you've established your own home and you don't really think much about your childhood home anymore. Okay, but sometimes the fourth house can make reference to childhood things. Okay, so that's the T square is going to be really in relationship, work, and home. Okay, so and including your wherever you grew up or how you did things. Maybe it has something to do with how you did things as a kid. Okay, and how you expressed yourself in this holiday as a kid. And maybe that's going to change now because of your career or because of the way you work or things you do at work, or maybe it's your spiritual faith or what you think is important to you now. That's what's going to be going on for you, Virgo. And as we get over into Libra, we're going to notice that it's going to have a lot to do with higher learning, the higher learning of belief systems. Maybe you come across some different belief systems that will have you talking about how you live in community and how you live with your siblings, or how you communicate with your siblings and how you communicate your beliefs to your siblings. This is for Libra sun, Libra rising. And so you may find that, you want to change your day-to-day life based on your community or your siblings, and maybe something you've become aware of, something you've recently learned, or a spiritual awakening you've experienced. And so as Libra is experiencing that spiritual awakening, or maybe that conversation within either with your siblings or your community, that's really going to shift your day-to-day life. Okay, it's really going to shift how you see and feel and experience your day-to-day life, especially when it comes to spirituality and or views or dreams or visions, because Saturn really wants to shift those visions and dreams, really wants to help you realize different things about your own spiritual system, okay, about your own spiritual ways and what you think, believe, and feel, and the way you behave in the world as a result of what you think, feel, and behave. Okay, so that's really Libra. That's Libra rising. It could just be as simple as somebody saying something that really opens your awareness, and then you come back to the Saturn in Pisces, where you're like, maybe I need to be more grateful on a day-to-day basis so that more good things come to me, right? Like someone just said, the more gratitude you put out in the world, the more likely you'll get the things that you need. That's, that's a higher learning, right? That's a higher consciousness. And that's really Jupiter in the 9th house. And then it's bringing that down, and Mercury is the delivery method, and Saturn in Pisces is what it changes. Okay. So what it's changing is your day-to-day life. Maybe you start a gratitude practice every day, maybe on the 27th, or maybe you get ready to do that for New Year's. Okay, so that's pretty much what you're going to notice. Your day-to-day life is changing, Libras. And now as we move into Scorpio, you're really going to notice this in your money, whether it be your money or other people's money, or some sort of conflict between those two things. Especially with the opposition there, you might change your belief systems, or someone might say something. Maybe it's more about your beliefs of the occult. Maybe it's your belief in astrology, which is a taboo topic. Okay, and those are taboo topics. Taboo topics are sex, death, taxes, the occult, magic, astrology, mediumship. Those are all taboo topics since you're led by the 8th house. And then the 2nd house is about your values. This is about the things you value, what is important to you. Okay, so Scorpio, you might be experiencing a change in that, particularly in relation to children or your own creativity, okay, or romance. Okay, so it could have a lot to do with all three of those things. Maybe with your relationship with children, or maybe how you interact with children, or maybe it's just how you express your own creativity. Maybe there's a new way, a new belief system that's going to help you bring up new creativity in the very near future, because this T-square is meant to change us, okay? Especially with that mutual reception of Jupiter and Mercury. If you don't know what mutual reception is, go back to the beginning and listen to the meditation and you will know. Okay, so that's for Scorpios. You're really going to notice a big change, especially since since you rule the eighth house. It's really going to be probably about some taboo topic or something like that, some sort of taboo thing, and your values and how that relates to your children. Okay. And as we go forward to Sagittarius, you're really going to notice a difference between your relationship with yourself and others and how that influences your community, how what community comes to you, maybe in relation to who you're in close relationship to. This will help you shift and help you understand or have a deeper understanding of what that means to you and what your belief systems have to do with that that connection, especially with your relationship to yourself. You might find yourself talking about that relationship and then talking about your relationship with others and how those two are connected, especially with yourself. And I'm talking about, when I say relationship with others, I mean the people that are closest to you. Okay, so that's like your spouse and anyone that you live with, roommates, or anyone that you see most days. Okay, including your children or siblings or anyone else that you might live with. Okay, so that's really the intensity for Sagittarius. There could be a little bit of conflict about those beliefs, but you'll come to a good understanding and it will change your relationship with community in particular. And then as we move on to Capricorn, you're really going to, you may not even remember what somebody said. You may not even remember what was said, but your belief systems and your creativity is going to experience an awakening. You're going to have some spiritual awakening around your day-to-day life or creativity in there. It's going to be really beautiful and really special and really important for you because it's going to change your values. It's going to change what you value, and that's kind of important because as your day-to-day life maybe you've had some sort of challenges or something that you've resisted or something like that, something that you need to work on. It's going to really change the way you make money, the way you feel, the way you spend money, or your values, what you value, what's important to you. And that's really going to have a lot to do with your day-to-day life. You may not even remember what was said, but these things will need to change. Okay, maybe you don't even realize that it had something to do with what somebody said, but it does change things. It does change your belief system, and it does change the way you behave, especially in your day-to-day life. And that will change how you make money. And that could be really good for some Capricorn sun, Capricorn risings could really be excited about that kind of change going forward. Even if you have a little bit of a challenge right now this week, it will change this week for you. And as we move into Aquarius, I would say Aquarius, you are going to really feel the difference between your career and your home of origin. Those two things are really going to be pushing on you. Okay. There's something about something that was said at work or some sort of experience at work with the home, your home, how, or your childhood, something that has to do with your home now. This is really going to shift your identity about yourself. Maybe there's going to be something, a good thing or a change at work that's going to push and change the identity of yourself. No doubt the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. With that change, maybe something was said, but whatever was said, whatever is done, it will change who you are and how you view yourself. And that will be the big change that you experience this week. And as far as Pisces goes, Pisces, you're going to really experience, you may not notice the change that it makes on you, but you're really going to notice how maybe something your sibling says or something you hear about higher learning and your relationship with siblings or your community, people around you, like not people that you live with or whatever. These are more likely people that are kind of off to the side that you see sometimes that are a part of who you are, but they're part of your community, right? Your support group. And it's going to be something was said, and you're going to shift your belief systems. You're going to shift how you feel. You're going to shift even your spiritual belief system. Maybe you'll have some sort of spiritual awakening of some sort, or it could shift your relationship to your relationship to institutions, or your relationship to psychic energies, because the 12th house does represent psychic energies. Well, I'm glad that you all enjoyed me going through the signs. I know you guys like that. Hi, Cheryl, and hi, Sue, and hi, Laura. Welcome. And Bianca, you're Cancer rising, so I hope you were listening. Go back and rewind. If you weren't listening, Cheryl's going to have to go back and rewind because she missed Virgo. Oh, Cheryl, it's definitely what's happening to me right now as a fellow Virgo. Is definitely happening. So I just want to say that I hope you enjoy those horoscopes. Last week I got a lot of feedback. Do you still love those horoscopes? Let us know in the comments. And I'm going to pull 3 cards for you. All right.
On a roll.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
It is a lot to go through all of the, but it's not too bad.
It's helpful. I'm starting to understand it better.
Yeah, I think if you watch me a few times, you'll pick it up. It's just about, and you can really master the house systems.
Yeah, for real.
When you start doing horoscopes like that, you start to really master the house meanings and what they're, because each of those pieces of pie in a chart are a different part of your life. So when you see your sun in a certain piece of the pie, or your Venus there, or whatever it is, that's affecting a central part of your life, right? So like, hi, Barbara. So like, for instance, the 12th house is very psychic, and it's your relationship to institutions. And it also tends to be something you don't really see, like other people see it, but you don't always see it right away. And so when I was very young, I didn't realize how intuitive I was. My moon is in the 12th house. My moon is actually very strong. It's also on a fixed star. And so it's very strong in the 12th house as far as like psychic and intuition. And I didn't even realize it until I was like 30. And then I started to realize how intuitive I really was and how special that was. And then I got to really know, and my relationship with institutions. You also have a stellium in the 12th house. And the 12th house has a lot to do with like institutions like hospitals, nursing homes, and both of us together,
Pluto in there.
We both have Pluto there, and she has a couple planets and I have a couple planets. And so stellium means you have 3 or 4 more planets in the same house or sign. And so we both have a stellium in a different sign in the 12th house. And we have a nonprofit that serves nursing homes, for instance, right? And
right there.
Mine's a very emotional experience. From the reason I do it is because I worked in nursing homes and I seen how terribly our elders were treated. So I created a nonprofit that I thought would better serve them. And I invited Brighthawk because her music was really life-changing for them and it would help reduce their stress and anxiety. So it was really special. And so then together we started doing that. Okay. And we started going to nursing homes all over the country and expressing that. And mine is very emotional. I'm the one that gets the people crying. They cry on me. Brighthawk has witnessed them cry, and sometimes I want to cry, right? Okay, so it's also intuitive because I have an intuitive nature for the people there. Like I have this intuitive sort of like, I recognize if they have dementia, if they want me to dance with them or maybe not, or, so I have some intuition about that as well. And then plus, of course, I'm a psychic and an astrologer. So my moon has I've come into a more understanding. So if you have stuff in the 12th house, recognize that you'll come into a deeper understanding as time goes on. See, like Bianca, she said that her North Node is in the 12th house.
Which almost makes me want to say almost immediately old soul.
Right. And she works in a nursing home.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go, Bianca. Is there anything else there? And then you have to ask yourself, because I'm also,
wow.
The other thing is we both have Pluto in the 12th house, but Brighthawk's is in Virgo. Mine's in Libra. And interestingly, when we have done it together, we actually tend to death midwife together. So Pluto represents death and it's in the 12th house, which represents institutions and also psychic and intuitive type feelings. And so, right off, sorry, excuse me, sorry about that. So typically what happens is okay. So sorry, someone is at our door or something. So anyway, so the 12th house is a very fascinating sign. It's very interesting. It's a cool thing to check out. So I hope that you take time to look at your own astrology chart and see that, Bianca, you work in a nursing home. Your North Node is in the 12th house. You're meant to be there. See? And I wonder, is your North Node have any lines going to it? Those are called aspects. And that will help you understand a deeper understanding about your connection to nursing homes. My Pluto's in the 12th house, so is Bright Hawk's. We're always there when people are dying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's a fascinating thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely fascinating. Okay. So, and as you start to recognize the more of how your life is so destined in the chart, the more than the last few years when we've really done a lot of work in the last like 5 years or whatever it is, when we've really dived deep in our chart and go, wow, so that's why you do that. Exactly. And, and just the more you recognize of how perfect you actually are, of how much of a perfect, imperfect reflection of the universe that you are, you start to realize how destined life really is and how much free will you have and how much power you have over your life and how to express the light in your chart. And those are really deep, beautiful blessings that I hope that you come out of as you in your study of astrology. If I could wish for anything about anyone that was studying astrology, I would wish for them to have. It's okay. I don't think it also has the background sound.
Cancellation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great.
So I just feel like if you got anything from astrology,
I definitely feel like it helps you lean into your gifts and talents and just accept. We all have spots. I have lots of freckles. And I feel like I stopped trying to rub some of those spots out when I finally understood this is the nature of a Sagittarian. This is the nature of a Virgo, to nurture, a Sag to be bold and funny and bring everybody together. And a
Leo moon to just bring us all together with music, right?
So, I feel like that's the huge gift of astrology is it helps you accept yourself. It helps you celebrate your great qualities because everybody's got great qualities and everybody has parts of them that they're like, oh, I hate this part of me. And I hear Hollis talk about it all the time, how when they were a kid, they would just hate being so different.
Oh, such a weirdo.
And then finally realizing Uranus exalted on your rising was like,
you don't get any weirder than that.
Superpower, really, literally like a superpower. And I think it's hard to accept your superpowers at the beginning. They say the difference between a blessing and a curse is a hair. It's just the flip of one thing. So that's part of what I really love about astrology is it really helps you. And by all means, get a reading with somebody who knows what they're doing. And it can just make such a difference.
Yeah, it really can.
And I really want it to be accessible for people. Mm-hmm. I was talking to someone the other day and they were like, God, the first astrology reading I had, I walked out more confused than I walked in. It was just too much. Yeah. Too much. And they didn't retain any of it. It just went.
That's why I record my readings.
Right. I say it's like drinking from a fire hose or your first time out surfing and you're picked a tsunami instead of something 2 foot,
Yeah. It's really a blessing to get your chart read by someone that is a professional that has been reading for a while, just to get their insights, even if you are learning. If you're learning, it can be helpful to help you learn, especially if you tell them that you're learning it. If you tell me that you're learning, I'm going to teach you while we're reading your chart. I'm going to be like, you see where the moon is now, you see this aspect. I'm going to explain it to you while I'm there. So that can be really helpful. And that's also why we have the 101 class. So you can find the 101 class at divineandrogen.com, which you'll be able to find in the description. Okay.
Thanks so much for your questions and interactions and comments. It always makes it a lot more fun to do these lives. It's really great to hear that you guys are getting your charts and following along. It's great.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. We love it. We love your questions. We should be live around 3:30 Mountain Time, 5:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Pacific Time.
Mondays.
And that'll be about 9:30 in the UK. Okay. And so these are the 3 cards that I'm pulling for this week. This is the first card. This is about in the past. This is about what's happened. This is a beautiful card. This is about receiving spirit's messages from spirit and sending them. This is about the messages that you've received and sent out, which totally makes sense because Mercury was in retrograde. And so that's really what this card is about. It is really about sending out messages. What messages or what have you said in the past, and what has come up, what has been said to you in the past. So hopefully you've listened to those messages. And as you do right now, you're getting a blessing from the stars. The universe is blessing you and gifting you things. So if you're starting to get gifts this week, not just the ones you unwrap, but all kinds of gifts, maybe an awareness, maybe an awakening, or maybe someone did give you a gift and you're really grateful for it. Maybe they gave you a new tarot deck, right? Or maybe they gave you something else. Like my grandson's probably thrilled. I gave him a compass so he can draw his own astrology chart, right? Okay. So whatever it is, remember those gifts are here for you, right? And so that gift, whether to yourself or from someone else, is a very special gift. It's an emotional gift, and embrace that in the here and now this week. And as we go on, it's really, the nice thing is that gift is going to lead you to this, which is a Page of Wands, which is very much about a spiritual awakening, taking off on a spiritual awakening in the coming year. So don't be surprised if you find out or you have some spiritual awakening this week, and by the end of the week you feel like you're on a new journey. You feel like you're on a new identity with yourself, or a new perspective into yourself or your own well-being, or how you interact in the world. So as you're paying attention here, remember those messages from the history, from the past, and what messages you had to say. Remember those messages, especially from spirit. And going forward this week, remember the gifts that you're getting, not just physical, but all of the gifts you're getting, including spiritual awakenings or awarenesses of yourself, or how to think or feel about something, or how to view something in a different way, or whatever that is. And as we go forward, remember, as you look and you continue on your own spiritual path and your own spiritual awakening. And that's really what the Page of Wands is about. It's about a new path, a new awakening, a new way of doing things. So Carla, hi Carla, welcome. You're just catching the tail end. She said, I got a necklace for my sister-in-law and nieces. It was a cross in the chain and my brother's name on the charm, and on the back is his fingerprint. It's beautiful. So I wonder, Carla, about that gift that you've gotten, how that's going to bring some sort of spiritual awakening. Maybe you'll feel closer to your brother. Maybe you'll feel like maybe your brother has passed, is what I'm guessing, and that maybe you can feel your brother's presence in that piece, and you can almost sense him or feel more connected to him because of that necklace. Okay. And that's exactly what we're talking about this week. And that's this week's idea, is that we're going to change the way we approach things, change the way we see things.
Beautiful reading and so powerful. So I love how the astrology and the tarot just reflect each other. It feels like it's absolutely kind of pointing to that new moon, that opportunity to turn over a new leaf, make a new intention, resolution, whatever it is that you need to do. That just all feels like it fits so perfectly together.
Yep. See, Carlos said he did pass in 2023. See, so now you're maybe going to have some sort of spiritual awakening because of that necklace now.
Neat.
That necklace is going to lead you to some sort of awareness or awakening, or maybe you'll just be better at communicating with him. Maybe you'll
I'm
feel
sure he'll
closer
be
and
a
more
spirit
connected.
guide for you, no doubt.
Oh, no doubt he's your spirit guide. That's for sure.
Gosh, and now you'll have him close to your heart with that necklace. How beautiful.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you got that gift.
May you all receive beautiful gifts, even if it's the gift from yourself saying, good job. Give yourself some love.
Right?
Give yourself a pat on the back and say, damn, 2024. Personally, I don't know a lot of people who are like, wait, that was so easy. I know a lot of people in 2024 were wickedly challenged. Like just North Carolina comes to mind. All the different things that people have had come up, deaths, grief, suffering, I'm really praying for a better year this year. January 2nd to start off the year breaking my leg did not make 2024 a favorite year of mine.
And it's almost over. We'll have one more broadcast.
Lots to be grateful for.
One more broadcast. So remember, our broadcast will be on Mondays around 5:30 Eastern time, 3:30 Mountain time. About 9:30 p.m. in the UK. So just, you can convert. You can just ask Google if it's 3:30 Mountain time, what time is it in my time zone, and it will tell you. Okay, so it's 3:30 Mountain time. I don't know where you all are, but we'll be trying to go live every Monday at 3:30 as Rainbow Soul Vodcast. If you miss us, that's okay. You can catch us on just about any podcast platform, including Spotify. You can also catch us on YouTube. And I'm laughing because Shauna, Shauna, I didn't get to read your message yet because I'm live, and she's like, "Oh my God, Hollis, you called it." I don't know what I called, but I'm glad that it came true because I hope it was good for you, Shauna, because I know I've predicted some good things for you. They are coming their way. There are blessings. See, look, Shauna says almost everything you've predicted has come true today.
Wow.
That's beautiful, Shauna. I'm so happy for you, Shauna. Astrology is a really powerful tool, especially when you feel like you are way down and everything sucks and you're wondering when it's going to get better. I think that's a really powerful tool with astrology.
Oh my God, yes.
Because you can be like, okay, so by the time Mars goes direct, all of this will be over.
Because this is one of those things that, it absolutely, during COVID, with all the time off, we took lots of astrology courses. And I'll tell you, every astrologer knew COVID was coming.
Yep.
That was Saturn-Pluto conjunction, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They weren't sure exactly how it would come up, but they knew it was going to be some sort of sickness and it would probably cause isolation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over, the folks that we listened to, it was definitely... There it is. Something's coming. Can't tell you all of it, but so that's one of the things honestly, I don't know how people get through tough times without astrology.
Me neither. I don't know.
I would go batshit crazy, frankly.
I love you too, Shauna, but just remember that while it is my intuition and my gift that I'm using, I am also using astrology. Astrology, in my opinion, is the most predictive tool. It's more accurate than any tarot card. It's more accurate than any intuition. It will get your thoughts out of the way and it gets the facts in hand. And I think that is really the blessing. That's really the part that you have to pay attention to, I think. And yeah, I use my intuition when I read a chart, but I'm also reading the chart. And I don't know. I've done all types of divination. I've done runes. I've done pendulums. I've done tarot. I'm psychic. Oracle. I'm a medium. I've done oracle. I've done it all types, even stuff that you've probably never even heard of. Okay. And I even did this thing where you toss coconut shells and ask yes, no, maybe questions. Anyway, but the most accurate is astrology, period. And that's that. So,
well, thank you all so much for interacting, and we really appreciate it. If you have a chance to give a like or a thumbs up or share it, we really appreciate it. And thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.
Bye-bye.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye-bye and enjoy your week.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are a perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.